Hey guys, this is Dan Ostapenko, and today I want to talk about how plants reproduce. It has been a really interesting topic. I learned it in my biology class, and I want to share it with you guys as well. And I think this is going to be an amazing topic for you and just for your knowledge. Many times we walk, we go hiking in the forest or go biking, and we never think of the fact how plants reproduce or how they grow. We always think like, oh, it's just there, But if we think about it, it's a really amazing process how plants reproduce because they work the same as human beings. So, the major steps in angiosperm reproduction. There are many different types of reproduction, but the main one that I want to talk today is the angiosperm reproduction, which is plants. There's reproductions like ferns, trees, all sorts, but I want to talk about, just focus on the plants. In the plants, there are gametophyte development, which is a male pollen grain, and a female egg, which is in the ovule. And I'll talk about it later, how it all works out. Then fertilization takes place, which means when the egg and the sperm or the pollen grain fertilize together and get together and develop a seed, and then germination, which is when a seed is in the soil and starts to grow. So the first step, flowers, they have many parts that have this. Many parts in the flowers have the thing that are able to reproduce, such as the anthers. The anthers are around the ovule, which the ovule is the center of the plant, and the anthers are around the ovule. And pretty much in these anthers, pollen grains are produced, which are the male sperm. You can say it that way. So during this process, female eggs are also produced or developed, but they are developed in the ovule, which is in the center of the flower. Once this is being developed, once all this is all ready and ready to go, pollination takes place. When the season comes, the anthers, where the pollen grains are produced, are being released. So the anthers open, and the pollen grain are being released, and they can be transported by insects, insects, wind, or birds. So once they are being transported from one place to another, they land on the stigma of the flower. But before this, according to the life cycle of a plant, in order for the fertilization to occur, in most flowering plants, an insect or other animals must transport the pollen grain. So insects or other animals have to transport the pollen grain in order for it to reproduce. So once the pollen grain lands on the stigma, which is the, let me explain, like tippy top of the flower. It's so the stigma is on the top of the flower, and the pollen grain lands on the stigma. Once it's landed on the stigma, it then moves down into the tube and into the ovule. I'm not going to be talking about the different detailed processes because it's really big and there's too much details to it. But pretty much it just migrates from the stigma into the ovule, and once the egg goes into the ovule, once the pollen grain goes into the ovule where the egg is, then the egg and the pollen grain, they start to fertilize. They get together and they fertilize. After the fertilization, a zygote is being developed, which in other words, the seed is being developed. When the seed is developed, seed develops, then over time, the seed is ready to go and ready to grow. The last step that occurs is germination. Germination is when a seed is in the soil and ready to open and start to grow. In conclusion, I want to tell you this is just a little small lecture or just like a tutorial thing, how plants reproduce. It is amazing how plants reproduce, how they grow, and I hope this video is going to be really maybe informative or helpful for you guys. So whenever you guys will go out there, outdoors, hiking, biking, anything, look at those plants and think of them as these amazing plants that act like human beings. Thank you. Bye.